Aryna Sabalenka plays down Swiatek rivalry ahead of Australian Open. World number 1 Aryna Sabalenka said the Australian Open title race is wide open, stressing that several top contenders, including Coco Gauff, Elena Rybakina, Jessica Pegula and Madison Keys, are in the mix, and not just herself and world number 2 Iga Swiatek. World number 1 Aryna Sabalenka insisted on Friday that the race to the Australian Open title was wide open and not just between herself and Iga Swiatek. The Belarusian and Poland's world number 2 Swiatek share 10 Grand Slam crowns between them. "I think it's actually not only about me and Iga," she said. "There is Coco Gauff, Elena Rybakina, Jessica Pegula. It's not only about me and her, to be honest." The calm before the storm, Aryna Sabalenka and the rivalry that isn't quite won. In the early Australian summer of 2026, the tennis world buzzes with anticipation. Melbourne Park is a cauldron of expectations, dreams, and possibilities, and in its midst stands Aryna Sabalenka, the world number 1, poised to embark on another pursuit of Grand Slam glory. But instead of stoking flames of one of the sport's most compelling matchups, her rivalry with Poland's Iga Swiatek, Sabalenka has chosen another path, one of perspective, inclusivity, and calm. For years, Sabalenka and Swiatek have sat at the pinnacle of the women's game. They occupy the top 2 spots in the rankings, they share multiple Grand Slam titles between them, and every headline routinely pairs their names as if they were locked in an unending duel for supremacy. Yet right now, as the first major of 2026 looms, Sabalenka is gently deflating the notion that this season's Australian Open, or this era of tennis, revolves solely around her and Swiatek. The rivalry that time forgot, or never fully became. If you ask most tennis fans about the Sabalenka-Swiatek rivalry, they picture epic baseline battles, contrasting styles, mental warfare, and an electric tension under the lights. And while those moments certainly exist, with 13 meetings between them and Swiatek holding a slight edge in their head-to-head record, the reality is that no one opponent has defined Sabalenka's journey in quite the way that, say, Federer, Nadal, or Osaka, Barty defined theirs. Sabalenka herself offers a humble and refreshingly honest take when confronted with the media's perpetual framing of her feud with Swiatek. "I think it's actually not only about me and Iga. There's Coco Gauff, Elena Rybakina, Jessica Pegula. I just don't want to forget anyone right now. It's not only about me and her, to be honest." It's a statement that does more than redirect attention. It challenges a narrative. At a time when rivalries are often marketed as the lifeblood of sport, a way to sell tickets, headlines, broadcasts, Sabalenka quietly reminds the world that tennis is bigger than 2 players. Why downplay the duel? A closer look at Sabalenka's strategy. At face value, her comments might appear diplomatic, even evasive. But there's a deeper texture to them. 1. The field is rich and wide open. Sabalenka isn't wrong. Players like Coco Gauff, Elena Rybakina, Jessica Pegula, and others aren't just footnotes in the women's draw. They're genuine contenders capable of bringing down any top seed on any given day. The competitiveness at the top of the WTA makes it harder for a single storyline to dominate. In fact, last year's Australian Open final saw Sabalenka fall to Madison Keys, a result that was a surprise but also a reminder of just how unpredictable the sport has become and how many players are capable of championship tennis. 2. The rarity of their matchups. Despite their statuses, Sabalenka lamented that she and Swiatek only faced each other once in 2025. 4 players continually labeled rivals. That's a startlingly low frequency. The scarcity of matches, especially on the Grand Slam stage, deprives the rivalry of the recurring drama that typically cements historic duels. Sabalenka even called it crazy that such few meetings occurred, expressing a genuine desire to play more often this season, not for narrative's sake but because quality matchups are part of what elevates the sport. 3. A broader vision for her legacy. Beyond wins and losses, Sabalenka has larger goals. She speaks about balancing professional excellence with joy and inspiration, wanting to transcend the baseline grind and become a figure that resonates beyond the tennis bubble. That perspective may make her less inclined to fuel rivalry for rivalry's sake, especially one that the media has perhaps oversold or misconstrued. The psychology of peace, seeing the bigger picture. There's a subtle but powerful psychological strategy in Sabalenka's remarks. By refusing to elevate Swiatek above other top contenders, she avoids narrowly anchoring her tournament narrative to a single looming matchup. This approach reduces pressure. If every headline reads, Sabalenka versus Swiatek, then any result that isn't their meeting might feel like a letdown. Sabalenka sidesteps that trap. Spreads competitive focus. Psychologically, this broadens her preparation to include multiple styles and threats, enhancing her readiness for anything the draw throws at her. Promotes personal peace. Rivalry inherently invites tension. Sabalenka's insistence on balance suggests that she might value emotional and mental clarity over manufactured drama. What the fans lose and gain. Some fans might argue that downplaying the Sabalenka-Swiatek rivalry diminishes the excitement of the women's game. Rivalries help frame stories. They give every tournament a subplot, a reason to tune in, a binary to argue about. But Sabalenka's remarks do something else. They elevate the narrative of the sport itself. Instead of a two-player tug-of-war, she celebrates an ecosystem of elite competition where multiple players can be heroes, spoilers, underdogs, and champions. And in doing so, she places the spotlight on the depth and diversity of the women's tour, a field where legends are not just born out of duels but through a tapestry of interactions, clashes, and individual journeys. The stage is set, Melbourne 2026. As the Australian Open gets underway, a tournament Sabalenka opens in strong form after defending her Brisbane international title just weeks before, all eyes remain on the draw. Whether Sabalenka and Swiatek's paths cross early, later, or not at all, the truth is that their story isn't one defined by rivalry alone. It's about excellence in a sport where every top player brings something distinct to the court: power, finesse, strategy, heart, and how those elements collide under the intensity of Grand Slam pressure. Sabalenka herself has faced her own trials. She's battled the sting of defeat in finals, heaped invective and controversy in other matches, embraced stiff competition in off-season exhibitions, and grappled with expectations that often seem heavier than a racket. Through it all, she carries the confidence and serenity of someone content with her place, goals, and the beauty of competition itself, not just the headlines it produces. In the end, rivalry is only part of the story. So perhaps, in the lens of history, the Sabalenka-Swiatek dynamic won't be etched as the rivalry that defined a generation, but it could be remembered as one of mutual respect, high stakes, and competitive excellence among many. In a world that loves binaries, win/loss, hero/villain, duel/triumph, Sabalenka offers something rare, a pluralistic vision of greatness, where rivalry is never the entire story, only